All right, YouTube, I want to do another video. I want to talk about regret and guilt. So, the difference between regret and guilt, depending on who you ask the definition. I wanted to really reach out and talk to some people and discuss with you the guilt and regret. We do things in life that we regret, and there's some things we do that we feel guilty about. I was reading a story online about a photographer, very well-rounded guy, great education. He was a Pulitzer Prize, guy. He was a professional photographer taking pictures from all around the world. He traveled all around the world taking pictures. And this one journey he was taking through the African desert, and he was taking shots of this young girl that was walking miles and miles through desert. And she was starving, and she was thirsty, she was dehydrating. And he was there the whole time following her. Sometimes from a distance, sometimes closer. And the little girl was dying slowly. And he was doing what he got paid to do. Now keep in mind, a lot of these people that go to different countries, especially this one area in Africa, they're told not to touch people with diseases, things like that. Just sanitary. Don't touch. Keep your distance. So he was always mindful of that. So he was watching this young girl walking, and every day she was getting more tired and more tired. Well, he took a picture of her from a certain angle, and there was a vulture about 20 feet behind her. And this vulture was waiting for her to die, waiting for her to get to where she couldn't move, and he was going to attack, pounce on her, and eat her. And he took a picture of that little girl with that bird, and he wanted to reach out and help her. He wanted to pick her up, save her, get her some food and water. But he had that voice in the back of his head gnawing on him saying, don't do this. You could jeopardize yourself, your own well-being, your safety. So he didn't. And it was a couple days later, this young girl died of dehydration and hunger. She was walking to a food bank trying to get food for her and her family. She didn't make it. That man could have saved her life and provided her with more food and water to take back to her family. He could have taken her back to the family, but he chose not to. So he went back to the hotel room with regret and guilt, realizing that the smallest little thing that we all take for granted, when we sit down at the dinner table, we walk into a fast food restaurant, franchise, whatever it may be, and we have this food and we have water. We take it for granted because there are people on this planet that will never have that opportunity. She didn't have the opportunity. Can you imagine somebody that came from zero, from nothing, and put them in your shoes, put them in your house, where we have electricity, a roof over our head, a bathtub, a shower, a dinner table, a refrigerator, laundry facility? People don't have that. And yet that gentleman was at the hotel room battling depression, regret, guilt. And he was a young man. He was 37 years old. And through that methodical process he was going through, he couldn't take it. He hung himself. This is a true story, folks. True story. This young man had a future ahead of him, beautiful future. But because of that one voice in the back of his head saying, don't do it, don't touch her, it ended up costing him his life as well. 2 people died that day that didn't need to happen like that. And I think about all these people that come from good families, good backgrounds, education, and they have all the wonderful things that America has to offer. And there are lesser people in the United States that are in the same position. They don't have meals. They don't have, but there are places to help those people. that really shook me up. Just to hear that, to read that story, because my heart goes out to both of those human beings. The guy couldn't live with that guilt. He couldn't live with the shame, the regret. Folks, when you have the opportunity to help somebody, it can change everything. It can change the world. Who knows what that person could become, a scientist, a doctor. It can be anybody. If you just take that one little moment to change everything, to help that one person out. Whether they're homeless. Now, I understand a lot of homeless people are there for a reason, from addictions, no family, no friends, or the ones that care. I get that. I understand that. But there are some that you can help that will make a change. It will make a difference. And I try to do that as much as I can. Now, I don't have millions of dollars where I can just go running around the world trying to save people. I don't have that. I have to work. But with this COVID-19, you see all kinds of people suffering because they don't have the money to pay their bills. They don't have the money to feed themselves. And whether it's $4 or $5 in your pocket it can mean $100 to that person because they just don't have any money. They can't feed themselves. Give it to them. Now, of course, if you see some homeless guy sucking down a bottle of vodka, I probably wouldn't give him a $5 bill because he's just going to go back and buy more. But if there's somebody that really needs help, and I get panhandling, I understand all that stuff, but there are people within communities and churches that need help. I've met a couple people in my years, that needed help with dental, medical, and they didn't have anything. They were just trying to reach out for somebody to help them. And that's why you have all this cyberbullying, people kill themselves, and it's just terrible. I want to talk about that. That's why I'm shooting this video. I want to talk about it. And, feel free to make a comment. I love reading the comments. Please subscribe, ring the bell, make a comment. And that's what makes this happen, these videos. So I wanted to talk about certain things, that how I can help, what I can do. And I don't have a lot, but what can I do to help? So these are just little tips for people. Just listening to somebody that has issues, that has problems, just being there for them, being a shoulder for them to lean on. It's amazing what it can do for somebody to just listen and try to help them. We all have families that have issues. We all have friends that have issues. We all have issues. But that's why we have friends and family. And some of us have friends that are more family to us than our actual blood. I have those kind of friends that in a drop of a hat, they be at my door, whatever I need. Not so much as family. A lot of families are selfish. They are all about themselves. Everything is surrounded about their own life. Nobody else matters. And I do not want to be that person. I refuse to, if you believe in God, you believe in the Creator, I refuse to get to that point in my life, because life is real short, man. Before you know it, it's over. And realize that I could have done something simpler. Gave them an extra $1. Listened to their problems. And sometimes you don't get to coach them. Sometimes you ain't got to give them advice. Just listen to them. And if there's something that they need that you can help them with, then do it. The small little things that we do. Regret, guilt, depression, all those terrible things. I try to stay positive every single day I wake up in the morning. I try to think of a reason to bounce to my step. Not every day is going to be that way. Well, I'm a human being. I have emotions, I have fears, I have challenges, I have obstacles in my life. This COVID-19 and all this economy stuff and this election stuff is just, there's a lot of negative There's a lot of negative. And you got to find something positive. Get out of your house for a couple hours. Go for a walk in the park. If it's storming or raining outside, call some friends or family. And try to get something positive in your life. Don't take so much negative and darkness in your life. That story that I was reading about that photographer, can you imagine just the small? He could have just reached out and handed her a piece of bread, a cheese, cracker, a little bit of water. It would have saved her life. Chose not to, and it ended up costing him his life and his family. Because now his family don't have him no more. He was somebody's son, he was somebody's brother, he was somebody's cousin, he was something to somebody. But when you're married to your work, when you're married to your job, you get caught up in that moment and you don't think about the loved ones around you. Always remember that. Because life, once again, is so short. And I've known people to be on their deathbed and all alone. They got all the money in the world. They got all the money in the world. And they can't buy happiness. Two things people can't take from you: tears and smiles. Nobody can take that from you. Try to add more smiles to your day, to your life. And if, in fact, you're in that time of need, you'd be amazed what people will listen to, will do for you. But you got to ask. We're not all mind readers. So try to be there for that person, and that person will be there for you down the road. Who knows? I once read another story real quick, I don't want to turn this into an hour-long video, but I read the story one time that there was this man that was, he was homeless. And he walked into a restaurant. He was wanting some food because he was homeless, he was starving. And the restaurant ran him out, told him, "Get out, leave, we don't want you in here." The guy left, walked out into the streets. He was really hungry, he was really tired, hadn't bathed, and thirsty. And this woman walked up, and she lifted him up, went into the restaurant, bought him some food, gave him some food, and she gave him a wad of cash. I believe it was around $1,000, I believe it was. That man didn't have any addictions. He fell in hard times. He lost his job. And he didn't have anybody. Didn't have anybody. So he was homeless and needed some help, and that woman helped him. Gave him some money, gave him some food and water, and she advised him, "Do you have anywhere to go? Do you have anywhere to stay?" And he said no. She said, "I'm going to rent you a room. I'm going to cover the cost for a week. And I'm going to try to get you a job, help you get a job." So she did exactly that. She got a hotel room, put him up in it, paid for a week. She got him a job at a restaurant serving tables. And it wasn't long afterwards, it was maybe weeks later on, she came into that restaurant. And she sat at the dinner table, and he served her. And he was all cleaned up, shaved, and looked nice, clean clothes on. He was making money. He was holding his own weight. And he said to her, he said, "You're that woman that helped me. Why? Why did you do that?" And she says, "Look at you now. You're doing fantastic." He said, "Yes, because of somebody like you. One out of thousands of people, nobody would do what you did, but you did. You didn't even know me." She was, "Oh, but I did know you." And the guy says, "How?" She said, "About 5 years ago, I was starving, I was homeless. And I came into a restaurant and they were going to throw me out. But this young man gave me some food. And it was you."